Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and in this video I'm going to share with you my opinion about 10 of the most common lies that I hear people believing about wilderness survival. Now I want to be real clear here. The goal of this video is not to rag on people or make fun of people. That's not helpful. The goal of this video is to get us all thinking about what are some of the lies we might believe about wilderness survival and how can we counter those lies with truth so that when we're out there in the woods, we are prepared for things that might happen to us. All right, let's get started with number 10. One thing I hear said, or at least implied sometimes, is, hey, I like hiking, I like backpacking, I like hunting, I guess I'll be good at wilderness survival. Well, it's great if you like being in the woods, but that does not directly correlate to being good at wilderness survival. So just because you enjoy being out in the woods doing those outdoor activities, well, that's great, but that doesn't mean you're ready to go out and survive in the woods. Number 9. One thing I hear popping up often is people asking, what's the best wilderness survival knife? And sometimes connected to that is the idea, if I have a knife, well then I'm good to go for wilderness survival. Obviously a knife is a great tool to have, but there are plenty of people who've gotten through really bad scenarios without a knife at all. If you have one, great, but having a knife does not mean now you're ready to survive in the woods. Number 8. Number 8 is all about survival tins. As you can see, I've got a very small survival kit here from Essie, but whether it's this one or an Altoids tin that you've made yourself, again, people think, well, I've got a survival tin and therefore I'm gonna be ready to go in the woods. Well, not necessarily. You gotta know how to use the stuff in the tin in order to be able to affect survival. Number 7. We're looking at lie number 7 right now, and it goes something like this. If I'm out in the woods and I find a pond, a stream, a lake, or maybe a river, I'm definitely going to be able to catch fish. Not necessarily. First of all, if you don't have the gear at all, it can be really hard. And secondly, people have been skunked when there's what appears to be a really nice body of water. What you're looking at right here, I thought would be awesome for sunfish, maybe some smallmouth bass here in New Hampshire. I got totally skunked. So just because you found a body of water doesn't mean you're having fish for dinner. Number 6. Number 6 is another lie about fishing, and it generally goes like this. I have a fishing kit, therefore I'll be catching fish. If there's no water around, you're probably not catching any fish. Besides that, I want to note that just because you have a kit and because there's fish in the water doesn't mean you're always going to catch fish. I was fishing in Canada one time. I was using lures for most of the day, and then I decided, hey, I'm going to try some worms. So I got out, was walking around the woods for the better part of probably 45 minutes to an hour trying to dig up some worms. I could not find a grub, a worm, or anything like that. So just because you have a fishing kit doesn't mean you're having fish for dinner. Number 5. Number 5 often looks like this. I have a fire steel, therefore I know I'm going to have a fire. Life and time in the wilderness is not always that easy. If you're in a place that has had a ton of rain for days or maybe even weeks, or if it's downpouring right in that moment, sometimes getting a fire started is really, really challenging. I was camping on the Pacific coast one time, right on the ocean, and I had that fire starting material that basically looks like toothpaste that you put on a log and then you light it. Well, I got that started, but actually getting a fire started to warm up and to cook my food was nearly impossible. So remember, just because you have a fire steel doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have fire. Number 4. Number 4 is often connected to the idea of predators. What about cougars? What about bears? What about things like alligators if I'm in a swamp? The vast majority of times, the things that kill people are not the big predators. It's exposure, or it's people hurting themselves and then not being able to get anywhere. So if you're worried about predators, yeah, it's something to be aware of, but be way more aware of sun or cold, dehydration, and things like that. Number 3. Number 3 is actually a 4-letter word. It's the word just. I'll just do this. I'll just do that. Let me give you an analogy. Years ago when I was doing a lot of indoor rock climbing, I'd be at a local gym and I'd be tired, my arms would be tired, my legs would be tired. I'd be up on the wall and the person down on the ground who's belaying me would say something like, all right, now just reach up and grab that hold. Just is not something you just do when your arms are tired, when you're fatigued. And so let's translate that to wilderness survival. When you're in a tough, stressful situation, it's pretty rare that you're just gonna do something. You gotta put in a lot of time and effort and have clarity of thought and the skill set to do it. So don't count on the idea of I'll just do something, because it's generally not that easy. Number 2. Number 2 often sounds like this. I can probably go 2 or 3 days without drinking water, so I'm probably okay until then. Generally speaking, that's not the case. You're gonna feel the impact of dehydration way before 2 to 3 days and probably closer to maybe even 10 to 12 hours. And even before that, if you're exerting your body. Now think about the fact that you're probably scared or nervous if you're lost in the woods, maybe you're injured. You're also probably exerting your body as you try to put a shelter together or try to make a fire. So your body is losing water in that whole process. You're gonna feel the impact of not having water really quick. So don't think you've got 2 or 3 days. You're gonna need water soon. You know that phrase, hydrate or die? That's for real. Number 1. All right, the number 1 lie in wilderness survival that I've seen over all the years is always connected to what's the most important thing. Some people say it's all about gear. If you have the right gear that's high quality, you can survive. Yes, gear is important and very helpful, but if you don't have knowledge on how to use the gear is not really so useful. All right, so then I guess it's knowledge. Well, knowledge is important, but knowing about things versus having skills to actually use different pieces of gear or skills to survive, well, skills are definitely more important than the knowledge. Okay, then it must be skills. Well, skills are important too. I would definitely take a small number of really important skills over a ton of general knowledge. But even more important than gear or knowledge or skills, it's all about your heart, your soul, your spirit. Do you have that fight in you that says, I'm gonna survive no matter what? Because if you have all the gear, all the knowledge, and all the skills, but you just give up, then all that stuff isn't worth anything. You have to have that heart, that soul, that spirit that says, I'm gonna fight and stay alive. That's the most important thing in wilderness survival. There you have it, my top 10 lists. Now let's hear from you in the comment section down below. What are other lies or misconceptions that you've heard people say about wilderness survival? Thanks for checking out the video. More videos coming soon. Take care.